That is the short answer. The long answer is because 1, fuck this country, and 2, fuck my life sometimes. Let's start with 2. Recently, my father lost his fight with cancer. And normally I would want to keep this matter private, but if you remember the first time I asked for help, this was kind of a long time coming. He was the one person who paid all of our bills almost as long as I've been alive, and I've really just been dreading this since then, thinking, are we going to end up homeless? How much worse is it going to be post-election? Well, thankfully, we're not homeless, and it's not that dire, but it's not great either. My mom has a stable job that pays well enough. The problem is, healthcare isn't the only thing. Because funerals are expensive too. $6,000 expensive. And she still needs to pay off some of the funerals since we didn't want to think about money when we were doing all that. I don't want her paying everything. It's just a responsibility, and yeah, I kind of owe it to my dad. It's just me and her now. I never had the greatest relationships with my parents, especially him. I'm not going to elaborate much, but all I'm going to say in regards to my dad is he's the same person I once said to myself, I will never attend your funeral. He's the same person I once had a fight with, almost involving the police, and the same person I once called Child Protective Services on since I wanted to get away. Thing is, it's not nearly as simple as victim abuser. It absolutely wasn't that. And more importantly, when he was found unresponsive, rushed to the emergency room, and I was told he will not survive this. All I was thinking about wasn't any of that. It was more just, what did he do to deserve this much suffering? It was awful. And yes, I attended his funeral. Spoke and wrote his eulogy too. Why? I loved him. And I loved him because he gave me a reason to have a change of heart. Because he, too, changed after all those terrible nights. Was it because of family blood? No, that shit does not exist. Because if it did, child abuse would not be the single most excused form of abuse by society. But what he was doing, he was trying. And that's good enough for me. And while I'm dealing with all of that, the country I live in goes down the shitter faster than you can say fascism. Look, I am just a storytime animator, and I don't feel I should have to keep my mouth shut on this just because I'm an entertainer either. But especially because, well, yes, I am scared for my well-being. Myself, but especially the well-being of my friends, family, and, yeah, the rest of us. In these past 4 grueling months, I've been to a few protests too. And seeing the people's energy, this resilient spirit in the face of all this injustices that I need not name and scary possibilities, and even with this air of hopelessness that's placated a lot of our lives, doomerism as some of y'all call it, that gives me life at least. I don't plan to leave here anytime soon. I like my city a bit too much to admit that. Though I do think I at least should get myself set up in case I need to. Words. They're hard. Okay, so hey, post recording in the car at 3 a.m. SoulNight here to say this was all recorded before the tensions in LA had escalated, like long beforehand. And while I was still unsure as to whether or not I should not only mention this, but the fact I should also give it the justice it deserves more than what I have spoken here with my thoughts, as it's only brushing the surface of the iceberg. But now, it's no longer a question in my mind. This is the turning point for our history. It's clear to me now that any sense of a normal life post-COVID has gradually just been stripped away from us, and it's harder and harder for me to jive with ignorance of the subject as many of our neighbors are being taken away and the rights of people are being violated. Not to mention the cost of life and the cost of living itself. Well, we'll get into that, but in the context of everything I have mentioned, I feel it is important that I also mentioned a quote
that was written in a Birmingham jail. That being, from Dr. King, more and more I feel that people of ill will have used time much more effectively than people of goodwill. We will have to repent in this generation not merely for the hateful words and actions of the bad people, but for the appalling silence of the good people. Human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God, and without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the forces of social stagnation. We must use time creatively, in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. And, another quote, I had hoped that the white moderate would understand that law and order exist for the purpose of establishing justice, and that when they fail in this purpose, they become dangerously structured dams that block the flow of social progress. I had hoped that the white moderate would understand that the present tension in the South is a necessary phase of the transition from an obnoxious negative peace, in which the Negro passively accepted his unjust plight, to a substantive and positive peace, in which all men will respect the dignity and worth of human personality. Actually, we who engage in nonviolent direct action are not the creators of tension. We merely bring to the surface the hidden tension that is already alive. We bring it out in the open, where it can be seen and dealt with. Like a boil that can never be cured so long as it is covered up, but must be opened up with all its ugliness to the natural medicines of air and light. Injustice must be exposed with all the tension its exposure creates to the light of human conscience and the air of national opinion before it can be cured. It's something to think about in regards to now.
So last reason you should fork over money to me is because I'm dead-ass employed. The ad revenue I got paid, again, thank y'all for getting me to that point, is less than if I was paid that dusty-ass $7.25 minimum wage for my equivalent work. It's not going to stay like that always, but this is really not the time for that to be. And I've been offered sponsorships I could easily incorporate in a balanced way I feel is both profitable to me and respectful of your time. And I've had to decline those. Why? They just had to throw AI in it. I am employed too, mind you. Problem is, sometimes getting $25 an hour doing delivery apps does not justify it, my hour-and-a-half commute to get there and then doing it all again. And also making sure I come home alive because people here drive like it's GTA. And I did almost land a better job. The problem is balancing all this and trying to get a summer job with a deadline you need to try for and certify is just something I could not do. My dad was in hospice. If anything, I don't regret the fact that I lost that opportunity or a job. I regret not spending more time with him. When you see somebody at the end of their life, you realize some things, and one of those is just how precious human life is. Not just yours, but other people's. At that point, nothing mattered to me besides love, and he worked 2 jobs to support us. He smoked cigarettes to numb the pain, and even after all that, he still couldn't do the one thing he wanted to do, and that was buy a house. Meanwhile, it's somehow okay for somebody to make billions. Billions when 1,000,000 seconds is only 11 days, and 1,000,000,000 is 31 years. And we have to deal with fake hirings for ourselves, nonsensical work requirements, and stagnant wages as more and more people are starving on the streets and dying from overdoses to numb the pain. That's not fucking fair. If this system was meant to better society, it has failed them in the highest regard. So yeah, as much as I hate to ask twice, I do need some help. My mom doesn't see this as a real job, and she says she doesn't need the internet. So I'll need at least $100 to cover that and my phone bill. Our rent is about $1,000 and $200, so that totals to $1,300. But I don't need exactly that. My gen's already broke as shit with a recession coming. I just need something comparable. The rest I can try cover it for. The $600 a month is what I'd suggest, as much as I hate to tack on another monthly subscription for y'all. So I figured $3 a month could be the sweet spot y'all can add on or subtract to depending on your needs, and if you wish to help out, of course. You can do so through Ko-Fi, YouTube if you're not comfortable doing it through a different site, I will do that by enabling channel memberships, and of course you can leave super thanks. And Patreon, just beware that I do not use Patreon anymore. There's nothing really more I can say beyond that, besides, of course, a thank you for listening to me vent about this sort of thing, basically. And on the flip side, I am kind of glad this evolved from an end screen announcement into something, I guess, more relevant to people. I made this channel with the intent to document my life and all of its ups and downs, and tackle the uglier side of life Storytime Animation has usually hesitated to touch on with any sort of brevity, so seeing what y'all think of this, I think would give me a better idea. It's like dipping your toes in the pool. And, of course, thank you for listening. Because even if you can't donate, just watching the video so it builds up some watch time does translate into revenue, as kind of messed up that is to say. And yes, I do acknowledge that I could just be saying all this and then run off with your money and lie, because people have done exactly that. And, well, I don't blame you for thinking that, because, well, it has happened, and it's hard to repair that sort of trust in people. Don't just trust whatever most YouTubers say. But yeah, I think I've rambled on enough. I am Soul, and I will see you later, recruits. Thanks again.